Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Christine Downs.
And I'm Eric Mackey.
We're trainers for Northeast PBIS. In this video, we're going to be talking about planning for the upcoming school year. The content for this training was developed by Northeast PBIS and the Center on Positive Behavioral Interventions and Supports.
Now that you've reached the end of the school year, first, you should take a deep breath and pat yourselves on the back for all of your hard work. Now, in order to be kind to your future selves, you're going to want to spend some time now to prepare for next year's kickoff, whether it's your first or whether it's your 10th. As a PBIS leadership team, you'll want to consider these steps to embed PBIS into your back-to-school schedule, such as creating a cohesive handbook or reference tool for your PBIS efforts, building routines to present PBIS concepts to your fellow staff and teaching for students, and utilizing your PBIS team members as capacity builders. You've spent a lot of time creating products for all of your PBIS efforts. It's time to organize them and put them in a few key places. A helpful way to do this is by creating handbooks, such as through one for staff, or a thorough one for staff, and a concise one for students and for their families. These can act as quick reference tools for everyone and make it clear that PBIS is a lasting part of your school. For your handbooks, you may want to consider having both online and paper-based versions. Here's a table of contents from the Fonseca School, including an introduction to PBIS, the behavioral expectations, their recognition systems, responses to unexpected behaviors, and appendices with the ticket system and reflection sheets. Having your PBIS elements embedded within your handbooks provides you, your team, and your faculty with a quick reference to which they can refer at any point in the year, rather than the team being the only ones holding the knowledge and holding the products. This is also a handy tool for substitutes, so that they're able to use the values, acknowledgement systems, and responses quickly.
So Eric, sometimes teams will ask, should this be the same handbook they're using, or should they have something different?
Certainly. I think it's helpful for the teams themselves to have a more team-facing document or tool or online binder. And it should be a resource that only your team will see, but it's helpful to have this organized in one place, like a binder or an online folder. This will help to reduce the time spent searching through old computer files or old Google files, trying to track down a former team member who created that really cool PowerPoint, or worse yet, recreating something that you know already exists.
Yeah, definitely. And if you have a common Google Drive, make sure everybody has access and there's a copy in case that person leaves and their whole account gets shut down.
Absolutely. An important routine you should create for an effective kickoff and to sustain implementation is to make plans to present necessary information to your staff. Often, PBIS teams provide a lot of professional development just before the school year starts so that faculty have the tools they need to teach the expectations, reinforce the expectations, and manage unexpected behaviors. Don't stop there. Think about providing reminders and booster trainings throughout the school year to build teachers' fluency in PBIS concepts and practices. Using self-assessments, like those you can find on PBIS assessments, can help your team to find topics and targets for professional development. Until PBIS becomes a way of existing in your school, your faculty will be looking to the PBIS team to show them how to implement the strategies. This can be really daunting, but it's also a great opportunity to build your skills as role models, coaches, and cheerleaders. Take pride in your role on the PBIS team. This is a wonderful opportunity to have a positive impact on your school culture. Do this planfully, keeping in mind that you are working as a team, pooling on everyone's collective strengths. No one should feel like they're going it alone and feeling ill-equipped. Think of how you can build team members' capacities throughout the year so that they can support the staff.
And of course, don't forget about the students. Plan out opportunities early in the year to teach the school expectations and the behaviors and routines for each context and location. Be sure to also explain to the students how the acknowledgement system and the consequence procedures will work at your school. Do keep in mind that building the schedule for teaching the lessons will take time and often necessitates collaboration with your administration. So be sure to start these discussions early to feel prepared for the beginning of the school year. Teaching the expectation lessons in the fall is important and sets a nice tone for the remainder of the year, but it's also helpful to build in booster sessions. We know behaviors and behavioral expectations can start to fray after long breaks or during those long, challenging months. So remember to review your data and sprinkle in some brief lessons and activities focused on your expectations to tighten things back up again.
So Christine, I often get asked about us talking so much about the fall. What if there are some schools that can't roll out in the fall, but maybe in the winter?
So if they're going to roll out in the winter, they're going to apply all the same steps to that time of year. They still have to be thoughtful in making sure staff knows what's going on and we're actually teaching students. We don't want to just put up the posters and assume that that's the teaching. So we still want to do all those same pieces, regardless of the time of the year. So it's often helpful to have a calendar specific to your PBIS efforts and to review that calendar during each meeting so everybody knows what's coming up. You'll also want to make sure that your PBIS team meetings, your events, your trainings, they're all locked in and set in your school building calendar as well. And this helps to make sure that the time is allocated to the PBIS efforts. And if you can get it on the district calendar, that's great too. Ultimately, you want to use some planning time to build and maintain routines that keep PBIS embedded within your school. So your team should sit back and ask itself, are we making decisions based on data? Are all of our students benefiting from our efforts? Do we have a set schedule for teaching at the beginning of the year and throughout the year? Have we solicited parent and student and community input? And do we have specific outcomes we're trying to achieve?
So Christine, the question that I often get is, what if our school is experiencing high turnover? What then?
Well, this is when being planful is incredibly important. We definitely want to infuse PBIS into everything, including policies, procedures, job descriptions, interview protocols, definitely new hire training, and even evaluations. We might have to present to a new administrator or staff members to explain how PBIS works in this building, even if they understand PBIS. And with regards to the team, make sure that you're building and keeping capacity by having at least 2 people acting as coach and a well-represented team. So if you lose a team member, try to replace them quickly. As you plan for the upcoming year, think about all the things you need to do before school starts and once it begins, such as tasks to complete, like planning for the rollout, and activities to hold, like kickoff events. And this is one example of how a school created a planning document. And here's another one. This document breaks down the data, systems, practices, and communication that they wanted to attend to by time frame. So before students return, the first week of school, and so forth. And these 2 are just examples, but your team should create an organizational document that works for you. There's no need to keep all these pieces in your head because something is likely to get dropped. And finally, remember to go back to your evaluation plan for your team so that you know when you're going to complete different surveys throughout the year and when you're going to do your fidelity tools. And for more on this, you can see the video on evaluation planning and data routines.
Thank you for taking the time to learn about planning for the upcoming school year. Please take some time with your team to review the guidelines for ongoing implementation in Section 2B10 of the Getting Started workbook. Create schedules and organizational guides to plan out your PBIS efforts for the upcoming year. Make sure to develop plans for your PBIS rollout for the upcoming fall or winter, whenever it may be. As always, add items to your action plan as needed. For more information, please check PBIS, any PBIS, or contact your trainer. Thank you very much.
Thank you.